fast life, the fast living. They see the ambition, they know I'm past driven. Look, we are not the same, this is not a game. I be swerving through the city in and out of lanes. Yeah, cause if I see it, then I want it, then you better know I got it. Ain't no options, I'm about to do the damn thing. I'm an outlaw, you can never catch me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are here with another recap for Godfather of Harlem. This is season 3, episode 8, and it was titled Homeland or Death. And, before we get into the discussion, please make sure you click that subscribe button, the notification bell, and the like button. So support us and we'll keep pushing out great content for you guys. So now on to the discussion. We are picking up, right kind of where last episode left off with the situation with Malcolm. Everything has kind of heated up. The CIA and the FBI are really gunning for him, and Bumpy is doing his best to try to intervene this episode. So that was kind of like a question that I had. I was like, how far is Bumpy going to try to go with this, and what can he really do to stop this ball that's already in motion? And so we see that he actually talks to Malcolm, and Malcolm is saying he wants to dismiss his security detail because he doesn't really want felons, with him when he goes to speak at the UN.
Ex-felons.
Right, ex-felons, correct. And Bumpy is also talking to him about the fallout between he and Mamie, and he's like, you need to get your own house in order, and you can't really help nobody else until you help yourself. So I was like, okay, Malcolm, with a little bit of shade.
What a word.
I'm gonna say, actually, it's biblical.
That's a word.
Right.
It is. And Malcolm's house is in order.
Right. So I just thought that was a little bit funny.
It was. I was like,
yeah. But we see how far the CIA and that they're willing to go, because they actually have M20 explosives. Like, this is not no regular schmegular stuff. This is the real deal. And they are going all out to try to get Shay and Malcolm, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity where they would be together in the same place at the same time.
But the idea to hit that place and not knowing, for all intents and purposes, it's a bazooka. And when that thing strikes that building, it's not just going to kill them.
Hello? That's why I was like, what are they thinking? This is going to have way more fallout than they think.
Casualties of war. I think that's how they looked at it.
Except that there's no war. You're starting the war. And
I know. I think they just didn't care. That's what I mean.
No, they don't care. They're ruthless. They don't give a damn.
You could tell by the way Wild Bill was talking to Jose, because Jose's like, I got my men, they're all set up, ready to go. And he's like, yeah, so we're going to dispose of them, whether they get caught or not. Got. So I was like, dang, Wild Bill is like,
no sense.
Yeah. But that's like, I think Jose wasn't expecting that, because he's thinking he's just sending his guys in to do a job. And, if they get caught, they got to go. But if not, then they get away with it. And so now he sees just how wild Bill is.
He's ruthless. I mean, he said they got to go no matter what. So, yeah. So, well, you better know quickly who you're in bed with, because,
Yeah. And, Bumpy tried to intervene, though. He talked to Jose, and he was like, you should really stand down. But Jose was not letting up. He's like, if you want to protect Malcolm, tell him not to show up. So Bumpy tried. He went back to Malcolm, and he was like, look, I'm going to shoot you in your foot if you try to go.
I was like, that's a friend. That's a friend.
Yes, but that whole situation really altered their relationship forever, because before that, Malcolm had been talking about how he wanted to write a chapter of his book dedicated to Bumpy and their relationship, and kind of explain how, Bumpy is even more of a threat than he is, because, a gangster that gains political consciousness is, basically saying white people should really fear that type of man. But he was like, after that incident, he told the writer to scrap that chapter.
Well, I think what Malcolm X didn't understand is because there wasn't any incident that he could see on TV, assumed that Bumpy was wrong. Unfortunately, that bomb just went into the river and without explosion, because had it exploded, at least in the water, that would have caught the attention of people, but it just went harmlessly into the water. And so without incident, Malcolm thinks that, things were, that Bumpy was incorrect in his analysis, and therefore wanting to end the relationship, which didn't make a lot of sense to me, because Bumpy, after all, does have his best interest at heart.
Yeah.
Right. And and it didn't just go in the water, it was intercepted by Chance and
Well, yeah,
and
exactly.
and the thing that really struck me, we learned more about Chance. It was like Chance used to be a soldier and things. And I figured that when he started talking to Bumpy earlier and he was talking about, well, they'll probably be using rifles and this, that, and the other. When he started talking about strategy, I was like, I bet he had some military experience, and it was confirmed once he had gone to visit and what's it called, knew that it was a ruse too. He knew all about Chance and everything and stuff, but we also know that was a way for Chance to get in there and see what type of ammunition and arsenal they had on that.
Yes, I was like, that's where you see just how far Bumpy was willing to go. He pulled out all the stops. He tried his best, to keep Malcolm safe and alive. And it's unfortunate that Malcolm really didn't get the gravity of what was happening. So I'm hoping that they can,
at least what Chaz was doing, because it seems
he sent Chance.
He sent Chance.
Wait, I mean, the only reason I ask in the sense that when Malcolm, wanted to end the relationship, if I were Bumpy, I would have said something to the effect, what you didn't see doesn't mean didn't happen.
He didn't tell him. He didn't tell him and stuff. But Malcolm's gonna find out.
Yeah, I think he will. And some stuff he shouldn't have to explain. Like Malcolm knows that they're gunning for him. So the fact that Bumpy is going to this great length to try to stop him from attending should speak volumes about how serious of a threat it is, especially that now he knows that Bumpy actually has a contact in the CIA. So he should really be taking it like a credible threat. And I think that's going to be maybe next week or something. He'll come to his senses and see that Bumpy really was genuine and trying to protect him.
Yeah, he will. He will. And also, as I said in the last recap, at this point, he has already accepted his fate.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why it was like,
that.
Yeah, he said that. He knows what's coming and stuff. And so while he's here, he wanted to, speak his piece and everything and further his mission. So,
Well, he wanted the platform, that stage, and when he couldn't get it, that's what put that bad taste in his mouth about Bumpy. But I know you want to move on, and I know you accepted your fate, but come on, I mean, there are easier ways to die if that's what you're looking to do.
Right. I think it also was like, FOMO, fear of missing out, because he's sitting there on the couch watching Shay all powered up and amped up and giving this empowering speech about his country and what he's willing to do to defend his country. And Malcolm's like, and here I am sitting on the couch. Thanks a lot, Bumpy. Because he probably had a lot that he wanted to get out as well.
Absolutely, because at that point he wanted to unite folks for the cause, different groups and stuff. Because even during that time, he was working towards, we know he was talking to Che, but during that time, he was also leaning towards working with Martin Luther King and stuff like that. We haven't seen that yet, but during that time, he was starting to form alliances with other groups for a common cause. And that's why he was a threat, because it was no longer talking like separatism and we over here and y'all over here. He was talking about let's all come together as Black folks, minorities and stuff, and that's why he was a threat.
But he wasn't speaking of a non-violence. What I liked about Malcolm X is, we're not a violent people, but we will and we have the right to protect ourselves.
What Tupac say? I ain't the game gangster, but don't push me.
No, but
I ain't a killer, but don't push
I ain't
me.
a killer, don't push me. Right.
Right. Now, let me be a devil's advocate for a minute and say that if Bumpy had the idea to intercept that military-style weapon with chance, why then didn't he just allow Malcolm to go ahead and make that speech? Because it seems as though he had an ironclad
He
defense.
ain't want to take any chances.
It wasn't ironclad though, because remember a lot of streets were shut down, and even Chance and Dell were like, Chance and Pettigrew, they were pushing it, trying to make it there in time. So
Yeah,
it really was a gamble.
Right. He didn't want to put him at risk at all.
And the fact that he even went as far as trying to get Mamie to, get Adam Clayton Powell to get some security for him. I was like, Mamie is so done with him at this point in time. But of course, Bumpy's kind of showing up, softening her up with the flowers. And then especially when she seen what Lillian was trying to do with the private investigator.
And Bumpy said the flowers were for
Lillian.
Lillian. So of course I think they were, they were for her. Probably I'm more inclined to think that they were for her. But it's interesting though, as hard as she tried to keep her stance, maintain her so-called civility, with Bumpy, she just started melting. Are you sure you don't have anything else to say? But she wanted those words to come out of Bumpy's mouth. But
Lillian really brought the gangster up out of her.
Yes, she did. I will snatch that wig off your head, drag him down the street.
Yes, I was like, Mamie getting the game ball for me.
Yes, she said,
Mamie defended her man and made sure.
She's like, oh no.
Yes, but I also give Bumpy the game ball too, because he went to great lengths, like I said, to try to protect Malcolm.
Yeah, and he got his girl back. He did the right things, and of course, old Mamie's back in town. So.
Yeah, she said, I just can't live without you.
Right.
They love each other.
They
do. I mean, those are great words to hear. And I could feel the touching moment that the two of them had when Bumpy came in and they hugged and kissed, and she just can't live without you. And Bumpy, likewise, you had to come back. That's a good. I like that moment.
Yeah, so it was really cute. I'm glad they have made amends, and I'm just hoping that he and Malcolm can make amends soon as well. Yeah, so if we talk about Stella and Columbo, they are still on their mission to try to get Columbo in the clear, in this feud that he has with Chin. And so she actually kind of helps him with his taxes early on too. And I think that this little helpfulness that she's providing him, they're really endearing each other. They're doing little things here and there and just drawing them closer together. And so, they're wondering how Chin is going to come at him next, because he's like, I know this ain't over with. There's no way he just going to lay down on this one. So in the background, we got Olympia going over to, the priest, going to the confessional.
Louis.
And scheming.
Chin's brother.
Right. Yeah. Uncle Lou. Yeah, Uncle Lou. And she over there, lying, saying that, Stella was saying her lying about her plot to kill her, and saying Columbo is basically setting up the family and pitting them against one another. And so Lou has to kind of intervene and go talk to the families. And he's, talking about the rumors, telling them they need to cut it out or whatever. But he also lets Columbo know that Chin has lost faith in him to run Harlem, and that there are no further dealings with him. So that's kind of like news to Columbo, because he's like, hold up, we taking it this far? Right. So he kind of blows up about it.
And also puts him on an island by himself.
Yes, because he knows that the families will side with Chin in that situation.
And what he said the week before, that he was going to take over Harlem since he thought he neutralized Bumpy. So now this is a whole nother atmosphere for Columbo. And like I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised, although I'm sure it's not going to happen, but Columbo making amends with Bumpy in some form of fashion. I can't see it happening, but he's running out of choices.
I could probably see it. You know, desperate times call for desperate measures.
And he's
You
in
know
it
what?
this time.
Maybe. But I was very saying, I think Chin has more of an in with Bumpy than Columbo does right now. So
True.
That's
another good point about that.
Mhm.
And you know, Lou, you know, Columbo going after Lou is not a very good plan. And you know, Stella tried to tell him, she was like, my Uncle Lou is the only one in my family who really hasn't ever done any harm to me. Please don't go after him.
Mhm.
You know, and he kind of like roughs him up a little bit and sends him a message, but I don't think that furthers the situation at all.
Well, before they did that, she went to talk to him first, and he wasn't really responsive
Right.
and everything. That's why Columbo did that, and she allowed him to do it, to send him that message to let him know how serious this has gotten. But she tried to talk to him first before.
Right.
Yeah,
but you got to know that violence begets more violence.
Oh,
and
So-
too, I don't know where that put Uncle Louis, because the mere fact that you beat me up kind of solidifies what I thought about you in the first place. You know,
Right.
could
So
have killed him,
well,
and that's what he said.
Yeah, he could have, but I mean, you know, that's a strong measure to kill a priest. You know,
Well,
even
that was the message that what's her face, Stella was trying to tell Unc when she was in the confessional. She was just like, listen, don't get yourself in the middle of this stuff. Like, you know, you a man of the cloth and stuff. This can be dangerous for you. And I think that's why she sat in the car and allowed that to happen.
He should have never gone to Chen to accept a message to take back to the mom.
No.
Because he said he should have kept himself out of it. The moment he put that message in, he just put himself between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
You're a man of God. And I think he thought that he was trying to keep the peace by him going, because he was like, no, we don't want to see any violence, we don't want to see any bloodshed. But once you go and you know, you put yourself out there as a mouthpiece,
yep,
you in
it. Yeah. And it's unfortunate too, because I feel like Olympia is at fault if he gets hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm giving her the hands this week. She's been on the hands list.
Manipulative. She gonna get hers though.
She is, and I feel like the fact that Columbo still has that affair in his back pocket, like that's gonna be the wild card that he can throw out there and say, "Look, Tommy and Olympia been out here having an affair while you've been locked up." So
listen,
you know,
don't ever underestimate the Black Widow, Stella.
Yeah,
because she is the one. No matter what, she has her father's ear. He will do anything for Stella. And if Stella lets it be known that she was the one that did it and stuff,
Olympia,
he gonna side with Stella first before.
I believe that too. I absolutely believe that. So I just want to see Chen. We haven't seen him a lot this season, so it's interesting that he's a big part of the storyline, kind of, but he hasn't been physically on screen. So I'm wondering I was gonna say, I wonder if we're gonna get that before the end of the season. And you know, how long will he be locked up? Is there something that can get him out sooner than expected and really turn the tables upside down? So that's what I'm like. That's what I feel like. It's coming. It's like the perfect stage. All the stuff that's been brewing is setting the stage for that.
Oh, it is. It is, especially with the Columbo situation, because now they're gonna be at odds.
Yeah.
So you know he coming out. It gotta be. It gotta be a face to face. It gotta be.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. You know, they say nobody wins when the family feuds. So I'm expecting some casualties soon.
According to Uncle Louis, Chen is through with Columbo. I don't know what else could be said except for his daughter coming up and saying, "Hey, look, this is the real story. This is what really happened." And Columbo is, you know, he did what you asked him to do. And
sorry, go ahead.
You know, well, I'm saying the only way that Columbo escapes, you know, a future death, she's going to have to speak up.
So we're on the same page here, because I was thinking, you know, she might really be able to pull at Chen's heartstrings, because the fact that he's already killed two of her exes. You know, he's been involved with two of her exes dying. It's like, all right, this is the third one. I think that she's gonna really fall for Columbo. They're gonna be in a full-blown relationship.
Yep.
And I think she's gonna fight for him to stay alive with her father and be like, look, this is the least you can do for me. You've already took out two of my exes. Let me be happy. Let this man live.
I think so too. And I was just about to ask y'all who you thought, like, if she had to make a decision, who would she choose between Columbo and her father?
That's a recipe for disaster as far as I'm concerned. It just seems to me Chin is one of those fathers that thinks nobody's too good for his daughter, particularly somebody in the in the ranks that Columbo is in. And because another thing, he knows much about Chin. He knows his past, so you're looking at a brother and you say, okay, you want to date my daughter, but you've done this, you've done that, you've had this person, you start adding up all those negatives, and you're looking at Chin. I mean, you're looking at Columbo another way.
But the fact that they are getting close kind of makes it seem like that rumor that he was sleeping with her was true. So
I think she's kind of melting in. I mean, she's accepting Columbo bit by bit. And as I said earlier, Columbo's not a bad guy. I mean, he's really not.
A little hot-headed, but he's
done some crazy things, but he's really not he's not the bad guy among the group. Tommy, to me, is the one that really can go. I mean, Tommy did some Dick Dastardly things. I mean, so if anybody can go, it's Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy can go. Olympia can go.
The two of them were,
in cahoots.
They were in cahoots to kill,
Stella.
Yeah. So he can go.
So I really enjoyed this episode. I think we got a lot of solid predictions of what could happen. So I'm looking forward to see, next week's episode. I'm excited about it. You guys have any other thoughts or comments you want to add to this episode? Any more predictions? Anybody else who can get the hands or get the game ball? I think we already have, Bumpy for the game ball, and Mamie as well.
Well, Chance, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, definitely Chance.
Yep,
I was like, okay, Chance. Maybe he might come even more. I was like,
yeah, he did his thing. I think I could put Wild Bill on the who can get the hands list as well.
Absolutely. Oh, and I was gonna say about Chance, it just made me think about, like, apparently Chance was in the war, and how Chance is now, he's working for Bumpy, and he's doing crime, but it just goes to show about how a lot of our brothers went over to the war and stuff, came back with this skill set, and wasn't able to find like regular work and stuff, and they end up, turning to crime to support themselves. And I was just like, look at this, he fought for this country,
right?
And
came back.
And came back, and he's working with the underworld, So yeah,
that's a good point. So Bumpy knows how to pick his men. They're loyal to him. They have a lot of intellect and smarts, and know how to work the streets. So I'm rooting for all of them, and hopefully, like I said, no major casualties by the end of the season, because I know something's coming.
I think so.
Well, we already know about Malcolm, so but other than Malcolm, I'm hoping there's no.
Do we still know if do we still think Stella gets out of this season alive?
I think so. I really do.
Think so?
I mean,
yeah, I think she's a big part of the storyline. Not unless they plan on wrapping things up with the show, like maybe season 4 might be the last one. But I think that she's a big part of the show. I think people want to see her win in a way. It's kind of like you love to hate her because she does stuff. So, you want to like hate Stella, but at the same time, you understand a little bit why she does what she does because the family she's in.
Yeah, and she's smart.
Yeah.
She's smart. She's definitely savvy. She's learned a few things.
Yeah. And she's relying on what she's learned. I mean, she's picked up a few things, and she's learning how to control the things that she knows and getting her way. So she's learning to be patient, and in that way she's going to, she gets the things she wants. So yeah, she's a smart girl.
Yeah. could be a boss in her own right.
Yeah, she could. Remember Olympia saying, she was like, I always knew that little girl acted as a guy.
Yeah.
Daddy's little girl. She has him wrapped around her finger.
Sure does. So looking forward to seeing what goes down. To all the viewers out there, thank you so much for watching. Please drop down in the comment section and give us your thoughts and predictions for this episode, as well as the future episodes to come. Also, make sure you click that subscribe button, the notification bell, and the like button. Keep showing us love. We'll keep all the great content coming towards you. We are also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. You can find us at The Spot Real Talk. So show some love to us on there as well. And if you're interested in viewing more content from us, we have a lot of great interviews with cast members from several of the shows that we recap. So check out that interview playlist and you'll see all of the great content that we have. Ron, Tiff, you got anything else you want to add?
I'm good.
All right. So on that note, we are going to call it a night, and we'll see you back here next week for the next episode of Godfather of Harlem. Bye.
Put your hands in the air. This is not a warning, not a warning. You think that I'm running in place? Y'all really testing my patience. Right before I blow up the spot, I had to get back to the basics. What if my talent is wasted? It's sick, but I'm lacking the placement. Thought since I rap in the basement, but my come up is legend, is greatness. I don't care now, it's pedal to the metal. I can never quit now, I will never settle. Puppet to the game, I'm pulling strings like Geppetto. We in the same game, but I'm